Good morning and welcome to Viewpoint, your program of personalities, politicians, and perspectives. This is Bill Gossett. Co-host Lloyd Roberts is unfortunately under the weather this morning, so it's just going to be Bill and Breann, Titus, Conradi.
Yes.
Reverse it.
Reverse it.
Breann, Conradi, Titus. I'm sorry about that. Mr. Titus would not be happy with that at all. All right. Breann is here. Oh, before we start this thing, well, the old man had a terrible accident yesterday. Fell very hard and boogered up a few things. The purpose of my mentioning this personal business is, once again, I want to give credit to the folks at the ER at our fine hospital. We are really lucky here in Logan County to have our hospital, Breann. And those folks are right on the ball. And they were not only knew what they were doing, but they were gracious about it. Yeah. And so I should tip my hat in that direction. And while I'm tipping my hat, I happen to be at Prairie Eye Care Center. And I went next door to them, and that's where I fell in the gentleman's place of business. I fell pretty hard, boogered up a few things. And I went back into the Prairie Center to check my glasses, see if they were going to fit and so forth. And Melody and the young ladies there were so comforting and really concerned. So thank you, ladies, for Prairie Eye Center.
Yeah.
If you can't see through the keyhole, go to the Prairie Eye Center.
There's definitely still kind people in this world. That's
I tell
heartwarming.
This story, Breann, I want to tell the story I told before on the air here. The other day I was in CVS. This is about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I had on my honor flight cap. The gentleman came up to me and thanked me for his service, which is always appreciated.
Yes.
And the man offered to pay my bill, for goodness sake.
Oh, my goodness.
Total stranger.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't allow him to do that, of course.
Of course.
But you know, I was...
a few extra things.
I know. Keep adding to the pile.
I said to him, your name must be Clint Eastwood, because you sure as heck made my day. All right, let's get serious. Breann Titus, Director of the Agency Development at Community Action Partnership. Now,
yes.
Not everybody in the country, we know about community action, but nobody knows, they just know the words.
Yeah, it's a long one, isn't it?
Yeah. Give us a CAPCIL version of what community action does.
Absolutely. So community action, the Central Illinois version, which is where I'm from, they are a small part of a larger partnership nationwide. But we service 6 counties here in Central Illinois, Logan, of course, being one of them. And we focus on low-income populations. We focus on vulnerable populations, people that are in crisis. But we not only help with emergencies and in crisis, but most of our focus is self-sufficiency. How to get people out of this situation that they're in, how to get them on a new path, how to get out of poverty, how to get a living wage job, how to educate our children at a young age to hopefully turn that around so they're not living in poverty, they're not going into generational poverty. So there's a lot of involved in that, but that's really like skills. Our main focus.
Now, is this under the umbrella of the United States government?
So we receive some funding from the government.
I'm suspicious already.
Yes, we do receive some funding through grants from the government, but we are not a government agency. We are a nonprofit. Yeah, we are a private nonprofit, but we do receive some funding depending on what the grants come from, either the state or from the federal government. Yes.
They have a way of messing things up out there in Washington, so I worry about when there's... Now, how many employees do you have out there?
Well, with the 6 counties, we have about 100.
Really?
Yes.
In Logan County, that many with community action?
Yes. So, I mean, some of them are in our other counties' offices, because we have 13 branch offices that are under our umbrella, just in different counties. So, total, there's about 100 of us. I would say there's probably 30-ish at our central office in Lincoln. That's our corporate location, our central office, so the majority of us are there.
Yeah. Well, Mrs. Titus, those of us in Logan County see a bus goes around and says community action.
Yes.
Tell us how that bus came about and what who that bus serves.
Yes, so that we've actually provided transportation to Logan and Mason County for over 40 years. And we've done a little bit of difference here and there. Sometimes it's been senior transportation, sometimes it's been public transportation. So it's kind of gone back and forth. Currently, we provide transportation for seniors that are 60 years and older. We provide anywhere from medical appointments to shopping to Walmart, Walgreens, any of the local pharmacies or shopping centers, even to their hair appointments. I mean, we transport them wherever they need to go.
Now,
yes.
Seriously, and I mean, I'm not being facetious here. If I called and wanted to just go to the post office,
yes,
I could call Community Action and the bus would arrive at a given time.
Yes,
where I live.
We would pick you up at your home, take you to the post office, pick you back up for the post office, and take you back home.
Well, for some seniors, that's a real godsend.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, seriously.
Especially during the winter months, we find a lot of seniors that do drive, typically don't drive very much in the winter, or they don't feel comfortable driving even out of town. We do some out of town trips. We have to take a lot of people to like their cancer treatments in Springfield. So we will drive them all the way to Springfield for their cancer treatments, drive them all the way back home. And for local rides, we just ask for a donation. And if somebody cannot pay the donation for the ride, we still take them. We don't ever deny someone to ride because they can't afford to pay for the donation. And it's $2.50 one way. So it's $5 round trip. But if they can't afford to pay, we'll still take them to where they need to go.
Well, I want to tell you, for some seniors, and perhaps instead of some, perhaps a lot, that reason alone will justify the existence of Community Action.
Absolutely. I mean, my grandmother utilized transportation when she was going to dialysis, and she lived in Hartsburg, so it wasn't like she was super close. And I had one uncle that was living in Chicago. I had one uncle that works kind of all over the place, and then my mom was raising my kids and my brother's kids, so
That's a nice arrangement.
so she was busy, and it made them feel better that she was taking care of getting to her appointments, getting back and forth to dialysis, not having to worry about that transportation. And all of our drivers are first aid certified. They make sure to check on each person, make sure that everything's good before they take them somewhere. We've had to turn around sometimes and take them back to the doctor's office or take them back to dialysis before we take them home. And all of our vehicles are ADA accessible, so we can transport anybody that's in a wheelchair, anybody that has a walker or any other type of assistance device. We can help them any way we can because they're all ADA accessible vehicles.
And that's just one facet of your aid to folks here in the community. But these last few minutes I've spent with you justifies the reason for Community Action.
Yeah.
Because if you had to go down to Fowles Drugstore, by the way, they don't exist anymore.
Used to.
But seriously, that's a real godsend.
Yeah.
Somebody's out of their prescription and needs them. I'm very, very impressed by this.
Yeah, and that's just a small portion of what we do every single day. So
part of your duties include fundraising and public relations, of course, marketing.
Yes.
So tell us, how do you go about marketing Community Action?
Well, we do a lot.
You do a whale of a job. You just did.
Thank you. Well, I do a lot of radio spots here and there just to talk a little bit about the agency. I go to a lot of meetings and speak in public sometimes, depending on different organizations that want to learn more about us. I do a lot of social media. We have a website that I just actually revamped this summer. That was my summer project. So I revamped the entire website, refreshed it, got all the new information up there. And that's really what we consider our electronic brochure. There's so much that's always changing at Community Action. And so having a physical brochure is difficult because you can go and get 500 of them printed, and then 2 weeks later there's something incorrect on them because things are changing. And so we utilize our website as our way to keep those things current and up to date as much as possible. All of our business cards now have what they call a QR code on the back, so they can scan it and it takes us right to their website, and that way they can see anything they need to see whenever they need to see it.
Let's talk about it for just a minute. But right now, we're going to perform a few PR moments for our sponsor.
Yes.
Right ahead, Mr. Rash. Right back live here at WLCN, high on the hill, County Road 2250. Is that what it is, Jim? Our guest this morning in Viewpoint is Breann Conradi Titus. This young lady does a whale of a job for whomever she works, and that's you and I guess. Community Action performs a lot more face-to-face service than I realized.
Yes.
So it's really an important, it is truly what it says, community action.
Yes.
And what were we talking about before we went off the air?
We were talking about the marketing side,
yeah, the marketing,
and the little QR codes.
Q codes, yeah, explain that to us.
Yeah, so this is kind of, like I said, it's been around for a while, but I feel like more and more I see it, people actually using it and knowing what it is. So we actually used it a while ago and went back to it. But they're just little... they kind of look like little splotches almost. Yeah. They're like little grids, but you can put your phone right up to it, and if it's on a brochure or on a flyer or even on the television, as we were talking off air, you can put your phone on it, and it will take you right to their website or whatever link that is attached to that specific QR code. So for us, we have it attached to our website, and we have attached to our Facebook page. So depending on which one you scan, it will take you straight to our website, or it will take you straight to our Facebook page. So for us, it's like our business cards are kind of our way to kind of say, hey, our electronic brochure. So if we change something on our website, if they open that link today and we change something tomorrow and they open it the next day, they're still getting the most current information instead of printing something that's past due. So that's kind of why we've been utilizing it more often.
Breann, in your background, did you have special education for this profession that you're involved in?
I did, yes.
All right, tell us about it. You're a very sharp young lady.
Thank you. Yeah, so I graduated from Lincoln High School, so I'm a local. I also attended Lincoln College for 2 years, got an associate's degree there, and then transferred to Illinois State University and got a degree in communication.
Well, this is one that pays off, Mr. Wright. This kid didn't go to school to learn how to play bridge or Well, no, I'm not being facetious. I'm impressed about the seriousness of your approaching what we're talking about this morning. Now, marketing.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about marketing for CAPCIL. So how do you do that? How do you go?
Yeah, so like I said, we do a lot of radio.
On places like Interview.
Yeah, yep, like Viewpoint. We do a lot of radio, a lot of in-person stuff, a lot of social media. We've even been branching out a little bit more, and we've been utilizing billboards, again, doing some radio or some TV commercials. We have even had somebody come in to do some videos for us, so we can use that on social media to kind of show more of a visual thing rather than just having to read it, because we've noticed that even on social media, videos, we were talking off air a little bit, TikToks or Reels are more popular. People view them more frequently. So if you utilize that type of digital space, people are going to see your information more so than having to read a long post. So we're trying to kind of tune into the times there and use a little bit more video, a little bit more reels on social media, and just getting word of mouth, trying to get our staff and our customers a good experience so that they can go and spread the word to other people. Hey, I had a really good experience at Community Action. They helped me pay my light bill, or they helped me get to my doctor's appointment. And that is huge. I mean, when you give somebody a positive experience, they're going to spread that message.
648-5510. Our guest this morning on Viewpoint is a very, very sharp young lady. You can be proud to have her representing Community Action Partnership. If you have any questions and or comments, 648-5510. We'll be very happy to take your call. And there may be some questions. Maybe some of you are surprised as I am at the depth of the service or in this few minutes we've had together here. I have been aware of it just because I see the bus and so forth and know about community action. But I didn't realize until a few minutes ago that it has such a direct impact on some people who have a need.
Yeah, absolutely. We've noticed that a lot, too. I think people always recognize us by the one service they've had experience with. So, if you're a Meals on Wheels customer, or you have a family member that utilizes Meals on Wheels or utilizes our transportation, when you think of community action, you think transportation or you think Meals on Wheels, but realizing that we actually that's just one small section of what we do, because really our programs and our services are set up for anyone, basically birth and all the way up to senior citizens. I mean, we have a program for everyone in between. So we work with infants in our Head Start program all the way up to 5 years old until they go to kindergarten. We have programs in the middle, and then we have programs for our senior citizen clients who Meals on Wheels that are maybe homebound that need to be fed on a consistent basis, or our transportation program. So we really do service every age group that is there.
I want to get back to Meals on Wheels, but I wanted to ask a question. There are a lot of youngsters, young mothers.
Yes.
That are economic circumstances are not as lucky as others.
Yes.
Tell us about how you help a mother under tough circumstances.
Absolutely. So we've even worked with mothers that are still currently pregnant, prepping them for what they need to do and teaching them how to go to their doctor's appointments and do all of the things that they need to do to make a healthy child. And then once that child is born, then they come into our early Head Start program. And we set it up to where they're getting early education. We're taking care of them, we're feeding them, and it's no charge to the parent for them to go into this program. It is a free program for those that are eligible. So not only is the child getting a great education for no cost to them, but the parent is also getting the opportunity to hopefully work while their child is in school, and also participate in some of our programming to hopefully help them get out of their current situation so that their status economically can be better when their child gets older. That's the hope and the plan.
Mr. Ash, if there was ever a reason for government help, this justifies it.
Yes.
I won't be crying around about them anymore when I'm watching TV.
The grants definitely help. Without the grants, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. They're the ones that pay the bills. They're the ones that, when we mentioned earlier with the donation for the transportation, if somebody doesn't have the money to pay for transportation, but they desperately need to go to the store, our grants that we get is what funds that gas and pays that driver to drive that person to where they need to be for no charge. So without the grants, we wouldn't be able to do what we do every day, or donations, that too.
We could get mad at what they're doing for the migrants that come across the river, but you just have to feel good about what your community. Tell us about the structure of that. Do you have somebody running? Obviously, you have a person in charge of, and then give us a breakdown on how that works.
So we have a Chief Executive Officer, and she is actually new to that role within the last year. We had Allison Rumler Gomez was our former CEO.
Oh,
she has gone on and done something different.
What's she doing now?
She is doing some freelance kind of contracting work, doing what she enjoys. So making her happy, that's good.
Yeah.
But we have a new CEO in place. She's actually been with the agency for about 17 years. So she's not new to the agency, but she is new to that executive role. Mm-hmm. And then we have our CFO and our COO. So we have that executive level staff, and then we have our leadership team, which includes me and my other fellow directors, who usually have a subordinate staff that they report to. So our leadership team is fairly veteran. I've been there 7 years.
Really?
Yeah, 7 years next week will be my anniversary. So most of us have been there at least 7 years or longer. We have a couple newbies, but we have a really solid team that handled the transition for an executive officer very well. We feel like we do very well. We're very comfortable with each other, so we can have those hard conversations sometimes that we need to have. But at the end of the day, we're all there to make the agency the best that we can. And so we work really well together.
Now, the state of Illinois has a children's welfare agency. out of Springfield, I'm certain. Now, do they interact with the Community Action Partnership on a local basis?
We do some. A lot of our Head Start facilities have to be approved and licensed through DCFS, so we do deal with them a lot for that. They do some monitoring for us as well. But we also, if we have a situation that we're identifying in the classroom that needs some assistance through DCFS, a lot of our Head Start staff is mandated reporters, so they do have to contact and report an incident if we feel like our children that we're taking care of aren't being taken care of at home. So we do have some interaction with them here and there, depending on what the need is.
We're sitting here this morning whiling away our 45 minutes and have once mentioned Cheeseburgers for Paradise.
Yes.
And that's the reason we have Breann Titus with us this morning.
Yes.
And it's time we talked about Cheeseburgers for Paradise. It's cheeseburgers don't appeal to me much here at 9:15. But tell us a little bit about that program. It's a fundraiser.
It is a fundraiser.
It's an important fundraiser.
It is.
So let's talk about that, and let's get people to support Cheeseburgers for Paradise.
Yeah. Well, talking about all the other programs is kind of what builds up, I think, to that fundraiser and why that fundraiser is important. So Cheeseburger in Paradise, it has been around forever. We're talking about it at a committee meeting. We don't even know what year we're in at this point. 20 maybe. So it is scheduled this year for April 22nd, and it will be at the Lincoln Banquet Center here in Lincoln, Illinois. But anyone in our service area is welcome to attend. We make it fun. I mean, we have a live auction where we have an auctioneer team that comes in and actually does a live auction. We have, of course, all-you-can-eat cheeseburgers, and most of that food is donated by local businesses. We have chicken wings that some of our committee members have like a special recipe. They're kind of like a hit every year, and those wings are always donated by Martine at El Mazalon. So, that always helps make us more money when we don't have to buy the food. And of course, we have a virtual auction that starts 10 days before the event. That's all online, and we get to support all the businesses that donate to us year after year after year, and be able to give them a little bit of props for doing that, but also be able to raise a lot of money.
It's nice to have our local businesses. Well, I think it first comes to mind is Charlie at IGA,
yes,
and others like that are always very happy to step forward and swing a bat and help an organization such as Community Action.
Yeah.
So we ought to express our appreciation to them on air, all of you folks out there in the business world who do something about that. So thank you very much to all of you.
Yeah.
Breann, what's the name of that? Where you're going to have this Cheeseburgers for Paradise?
Lincoln Banquet Center.
Lincoln Banquet Center.
Yes.
Yeah, Haji Patel owns that. God love him. There's another fellow steps up every once in a while and swings a bat for us in the community. So what kind of a turnout do you expect?
Yeah. So normally this is a sold-out event. In the years past, we've sold about 40 tables, so it's about 400 people. Over COVID kind of took that away from us a little bit.
Yeah.
So when COVID happened, we had to cancel our 2020 event. And then 2021, we were under some restrictions. So we could only have, half the capacity of what we normally would have. What we found during that period of time, however, is that it was kind of more comfortable there with less tables. It wasn't as tight in there. Yeah. And so what we decided to do was, and people liked having a little bit more space. So we're actually selling less tables than we have in the past. We did do a little bit of a price increase on our tables. It's something that we took very seriously. We made the decision. It wasn't something we took lightly because everything's increasing right now. So we want to be like, just like add into it. But when we're having a fundraiser, at the end of the day, that is the point, is to raise as much money as we can for the organization and for the services that we provide to the community, and to be able to do as much as we can for those people that need it. And so we decided to sell a few more less tables to make it more roomy in there, but increase the price just a little bit. And we haven't increased the price for many, many years. So
a table, an organization like Rotary or Ladies Women's Clubs or AAUW, that's American Association of University Women, folks. That's not a foul. Seriously, an organization can buy a table.
Yes.
and then they can sell it out or sponsor it or whatever they want to do with it.
Yep.
What is the table going to cost somebody who wants to buy a table?
Yeah, so we have three levels of sponsorship. For 4 tickets to entry the table, it's $160. If you want a whole table, it's $375, and if you want 2 whole tables, it is $620. I think.
Just went beyond.
We just changed it, so I'm like, wait, what was that again?
Just went beyond my pay grade.
No, $720. Yeah, $720 for 2 tables, $375 for 1 table, and then for 4 tickets, it is $160.
Now you mentioned auctioning. That's an art in and unto itself. We need to get an auctioneer up here someday, Jim. What will be auctioned?
Depending on what we get donated. Our donations will start bringing in this month, February. And so it really depends on what we get donated. We try to take some of our donations and package them up in a package that makes sense. For example, if we get a lot of donations from some of the local businesses here in Lincoln, we've done where we've put them all together in a basket, and you've called it the Downtown Lincoln Basket, or we've called it like we've had a couple from Havana that has donated, so we do like a night out in Havana, and so we try to combine things to make a solid package, so you're not just getting each individual item, because sometimes some companies or businesses can only donate a $20 gift card, and that's fine, but we want to be able to sell it at a larger capacity, so we'll kind of add it in with something. We've actually contacted a lot of businesses that are in that local area to say, hey, like, we would love for you to donate this to our donation or to our auction, and then can your friend over there that has a restaurant, can they donate a gift certificate to kind of go with it, so it's like a date night, or you could do a family night out or something like that, and that's gone over really, really well. People want gift cards. They love gift cards. They love adventures, and so we try to get as much of that as we can. And like you mentioned with the businesses, I stress so much because I know that it's a lot on the businesses. They get asked so much for donations and support, but we truly cannot do this without the support of the businesses. We cannot do it. It wouldn't be successful. Yeah. So whatever you're able to give, we so greatly appreciate it. And Charlie at IGA usually donates some of the toppings for the burgers. And so, yeah, we can't do it without our business support.
Well, community action has a tremendous impact on the community. You want to comment about that just a little bit, Breann?
Yeah. I think people don't truly realize, what we do on a consistent basis, or some people connect us with that we're just an arm off of like a social service agency. We really are not. We really do try to meet the person where they are. We try to meet them in the crisis that they're in. We try to meet them in the emergency, and then we try to deal with the emergency, and then the next step would be to get them extra help so that emergency doesn't happen again. So we have sometimes people come in that they've been at the local, police station, and it's a situation where they're homeless and they need somewhere to stay before they can get to a shelter. And they've come to us, and we've been able to, depending on our funding, we've been able to purchase a hotel room for the night so they have somewhere warm to sleep. And then we will transport them to the shelter the next day. Unfortunately, our grants don't cover a lot of that. They have guidelines, so they don't cover hotel stays for homeless individuals. So fundraising like Cheeseburger, that's what that money goes towards. It can help pay for something like that outside of our grants. But we just last year we serviced over 7,500 individuals over our 6 counties. So I mean, we see a lot of people every year.
You mentioned a factor that we don't think much about here in Logan County, homeless factor.
Yes.
I think we might be surprised to understand or to know that there are people who don't have a good spot to put their head down at night here in Logan County.
Yes.
And I find that rather appalling
Mm-hmm.
but also probably a truthful thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think like we all take it for granted. You know, we get home at night and it's warm.
648-5510. Call Breann Titus Conradi, or Conradi Titus. We'll get it right yet before this day's over.
My husband might call in and be like, "What's going on there?" No.
648-5510. This young lady's doing a whale of a job for community action, and community action obviously does a whale of a job for 6 counties.
Yes.
Now,
quite a spread.
Yeah, really. Now, do the 6 counties get together on a regular basis and have a community meeting between the agencies and hash things out?
We do a little bit. So we have different meetings. Like we have our Head Start area has a management meeting. So all the management team comes from all the different counties, and they meet fairly frequently so they can talk about what's going on in their county versus maybe what's going on in a different county. We also have focus groups throughout the year where we bring in outside organizational individuals too from other counties to say, like, what are you seeing the problem is? Like, are we seeing the same thing? Are we seeing something different? Do we need to be looking at something different? So we do, and then a lot of our staff goes to different county meetings. So there's like a DeWitt Coalition meeting. There's like one in Payette that's similar. So we try to, each one of us kind of go to each different meeting so we can hear from other organizations what they're experiencing, what their issues are. Tell them, hey, if you have a person that comes to you that you can't help, this is what we do. So refer them to us so we can help them. And then we'll refer them to you if we can't help them with something and you can. So we really do try to bring together the community. So if we don't have a service that can help somebody, we know somebody that does. So we can make that phone call and make sure that person's getting help, even if we can't help them directly.
You know, this is a direct self-help for program
Yes.
for people in these 6 counties.
Yeah.
Without community action, some of those folks would be picking with the chickens.
We think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they come in and they're in a bad place. They're desperate. They're, you know, especially we saw a whole new experience during COVID because we saw people come in that have never needed assistance. Mm-hmm. They have never needed social benefits. And all of a sudden, they don't have a job because they've been laid off during COVID. And they have no idea how to pay their bills. They've never needed assistance paying their bills, and they're stuck. They don't know where to go. And sometimes they come in and they're just desperate. And they don't even know really what they need. They just know that they are struggling. And that was one of the things where we're like, you know what? It's okay. Like, let us sit down with you and let's talk it out. Let's figure out, do you need utility assistance? Do you need food to go home tonight? Like, do you need a warm bed tonight? Like, what is your current situation? What services do we have that can help you? And if you need something else, do we have the resources or the referral base that we can send out and call the health department and say, hey, we don't have this service, but this person needs help. Can you help them with this? Whatever the case may be.
You know, you talk about direct, basic help for people. Without the operation that you have out there, they'll start to scratch the back of their head and don't know what the heck to do.
Yeah. I mean, it is basic stuff. I mean, we help with utility assistance to keep your lights on, keep your water and your sewer going. We provide food from the food pantry, transportation to where you need to go. We provide meals to our seniors that are at home and they don't get out much or they don't get out at all. And then we provide education to not only the children in Head Start, but also to the parents and to that middle group age range that need to learn, you know, how to think differently and how to prepare financially, how to do a budget, how to apply for a scholarship to go to school. You know, so it's little things like that. Sometimes we're just sitting with them and saying, hey, like, we're going to help you apply for college. We're going to help you plan a budget. We're going to help you, you know, set up a savings account, you know, whatever that is. I mean, sometimes it's just walking them through the basics of life that we all, I think, take for granted sometimes because, you know, we had parents that taught us that. Some of us did, most of us did. And we just meet with some that they just don't have that same upbringing. They've never known that they needed a savings account. They never knew that they needed, you know, you see a lot of times they go to Walmart and they just cash their whole paycheck because they don't have a bank account. And that's something that we try to teach them, like, you need to have a bank account. You need to have a savings account so that you're pushing money into that, so that you're not in this position where you can't pay your electric bill. And so sometimes those are hard conversations that we have to have with them. Basic conversations that are part of life on a daily basis.
Breann, you go home and write your college professors, each and every one that you had, and tell them, by God, you're a success.
Well, thanks.
You're so enmeshed in what you do, and obviously enthused. Do you have trouble turning off the switch at night when you go home?
Sometimes I do, depending on the situation. I am also a busy mom of 2, and both of them are in activities and sports. So, and a husband that works a lot. So I have to learn to compartmentalize. So when I shut that work life off at night, I walk into my second job of the day, which is being a mom. And so I tend to transition fairly well, I think, because I have to survive. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely moments where you go home and you continue to think about the day. Cheeseburger is one of those things where I think never leaves my mind in the heat of it, because I'm always worried, is it going to be successful? Are we going to have enough people? Is everything set up to go? So, it's one of those things, because like I mentioned, you've said we do such good work, but like I said, without the money, we can't do our work.
Cheeseburgers in Paradise. Listen, listeners, this is your chance to talk to one of the regular all-American mom. We appreciate your enthusiasm for what you do, because it certainly enhances the life for a lot of people. Tell me about Meals on Wheels, Breann.
Yes.
That's a very important thing for a lot of people, I'm sure.
It is. Yes. We service about 150 customers.
Boy, that's a lot.
Yeah, with Meals on Wheels in Logan and in Mason County. And all of the meals are prepared in our kitchen in Lincoln. So in our central office location, our corporate location, we have a kitchen. And all of the meals are prepared by 2 staff members. And they not only prepare our Meals on Wheels meals, but they also prepare our Head Start meals. So they're pushing out about 500 meals out of that kitchen. And we make sure that all the meals are approved by a registered dietitian. So not only are we feeding our seniors, but we're also making sure they get a very nutritious meal. We deliver 3 days a week, but we deliver 5 meals. So they will have meals for every single day. And then certain times of the year, especially during the winter, we provide them with what we call like a blizzard bag or a shelf-stable bag. So we provide them with extra snacks, extra crackers, juices, extra things that they can just really open and eat, or maybe open and heat up some soup and things like that. So that way, if something would happen and they can't get out to get groceries, they have a couple extra things that they can eat. We also we deliver in every type of weather you can imagine. So if it's snowing outside and it's blizzarding, we still do our best to try to deliver. Or if we know a snowstorm is coming that could cause problems getting the meals to the home, then we make sure they have extra shelf-stable food to get them through until we can get to their location. We also make sure we check on them. So sometimes, unfortunately, we're the only person they see in a day. We're the only person they see in a couple of days. And
that's important.
Yes. So we make sure all of our drivers are trained to notice. Yes, interact with them, notice if something's off. And we've had a lot of situations where we've saved, we've had one in particular that comes to mind. We've saved his life because we were delivering a meal and we noticed that something wasn't right. And we immediately called his emergency contact, and we called an ambulance, and we were able to get him to a hospital. And they have told us, if he would have just stayed there by himself, that would not have been the outcome that would have happened. So we do try to make sure that we're taking care of them and we're checking on them, because we may be the only person they see in 24 hours.
One perhaps probable frustrating part of what you do for people is that the real world says that you get people who simply can't handle 5 cents.
Yes.
Financially bereft, so to speak. They just simply don't know how to handle money. It's not their fault; it's just the way it happened.
Right.
And that has to be a serious remedy for a lot of people.
Yeah, and it can be frustrating for us because we know what we do is positive, but just like anything else, you can't force somebody to want to do it.
No.
And so if we see somebody that's in a situation where we're like, we can help you, and they don't want the help, sometimes that's frustrating for us because we're like, if you would just, take the time and take the moment to talk to us, we would be able to help you. And that's maybe simple, like you said, just learning how to budget a paycheck at the end of the day. Sometimes it's like just learning how to budget your paycheck. But we have to have people want to do it. So we have the resources, we have the people. We just need you to be willing.
Before we close, there's one little, I'd like to touch on education, because there's a lot of families that aren't aware of potential scholarships out there, and
Yes.
there are a lot of them that you're aware of. So can you touch on that just a second?
Yeah, so like I said, we have our Head Start program. We've bought scrubs for people that have started in a CNA job. Whatever we need to get them to get started, we can help them, because sometimes they can't afford. Like if you have to buy scrubs just to go to work, maybe they can't afford a set of scrubs to get a job. So then is that going to prevent you from working? So we try to say, we're going to take that out of the equation. We're going to provide you the basic uniform that is required for you. We're going to pay for it so that there's no excuse that you can't keep that job. And so we do things like that all the time. So whether it's going to school, getting a new certificate, or just needing basic things to start a job, we can help pay for that.
And all we talked about this morning takes money.
Yes.
And sometimes grants don't go as far.
Yes.
So if somebody wanted to help out the community action, how would they send a couple of bucks?
Yes.
Or maybe 50.
Yeah, I know. Donations are so important.
Seriously.
So they can mail a donation if they feel comfortable doing that to 1800 5th Street here in Lincoln. That is our corporate location.
Community Action Partnership, 1800 5th Street
Yep.
in Lincoln, Illinois, 62656. And think about that, folks.
Yeah, you can donate online as well. We have it set up to do that, where you can do online. Lots of options.
Breann, Conradi, Titus, a delight this morning. I've been delighted to be able to be here and visit with you. We visited about this subject matter before. We're glad to have you come in and reacquaint our listeners, both of you out there. Two of you didn't call in. I'm disappointed in you. So, Breann, Titus, we thank you very, very much for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.